All right.
You want to kick us off, Emilia?
Sure. Well, there are more people joining, so hopefully
Okay.
your co-host can help me let them
Yes,
in.
I'm letting them all
And
in.
your brother is on. Oh my goodness.
My brother made it. I can't believe it. And my niece from Edinburgh, she's studying there to get her master's. So I'm so happy you made it, sweetie.
I'm so happy to be here. Yeah, sorry, my Wi-Fi just disconnected for a sec.
Oh, it's fine. All right, well, let's start. It's 9:01. Well, first of all, thank you so much for being part of this journey. All the women that shared their stories. I can't tell you how many emails and messages we've received from around the world saying they were able to relate to some of their stories about struggling to get pregnant, and whether it was discrimination or all the mentors that helped them in tech. We love your stories. Thank you so much. We will slowly be sharing them anonymously unless we have your permission. So I'm just really thankful that you're here. And I know Jason, my husband, can't stay very long, but for Sean and Jason, huge thank you that you put up with us this plus year of early mornings and late nights and weekends and craziness, flying back and forth to each other's houses to brainstorm. So thank you both.
Congrats, guys. I'm looking forward to the royalties that come in. So
we're a long
and
ways
are practical about it.
A long, long way. People told us when we sat down at this writing book journey that it's not something you can do with the goal of making money. In fact, it's the opposite. And that's where for us, it's truly, truly a passion project. That's something that really mattered to us. If it's okay, I'd like to jump in really quickly, Emilia, and share that Emilia and I met, for those of you who don't know, 4 years ago when I was a leader at a tech company, and she came in to provide consulting services for my team. And through that process, we got to know each other. She shared that she was a mom of 3, and excuse my language, but it had been a badass powerhouse in Silicon Valley. And I was just, I think my daughter was 7 months old, and I was still struggling with postpartum depression and anxiety. And a lot of those of you who are on this call, some of my best friends in life, Taylor and Katie, and looking around the room right here, have been friends for 20 some years. Sean, obviously my husband. A lot of people already know this about me. Oh, there's Jenny. Hi. And I think I see Liz and Jody, my sister, Krista. There's a lot of you on here. Thank you. And that was just, a really difficult time. And I was trying to keep it together, keep a brave face. And Emilia made it okay. She showed me how it could be done. And not long after, got the courage to ask her if she'd mentor me. And we started having monthly or quarterly calls, and they accelerated. And then lo and behold, finally got this crazy idea that, we can't be the only ones who are dealing with this. And I knew others were as well. And it might not have even been in technology, but just by virtue of being female, let alone looking for the opportunity to become a mom, looking for the opportunity to overcome the challenges that come with getting pregnant, being pregnant after pregnancy, and just being a parent, whether you adopted, whether you're providing love to nieces, nephews, just having that responsibility is huge, let alone being a contributing member to society, having a job and showing up to do the things you have to do. So that true village was so key and crucial. And I'm so thankful for Emilia and all of you. And I will turn it back to you, Emilia.
Well, I just want to say for Annie, even, I love that you poured the champagne we sent you for all your help with the books. I'm not drinking champagne because I have a long day of work ahead, but I will probably tonight. Hopefully Jason will take me out for dinner.
I also would like to recognize Taylor, who's on this call. She is this public relations, communication, creativity mastermind, and has been. I met her our sophomore year in college, maybe in a freshman year, and she studied public relations like I did, but took it to a whole new level and had this amazing career, first half of her career doing public relations at a big firm called Edelman, working on brands like Starbucks. She regularly trained Howard Schultz in the media. And this is just riffing, Taylor. I did not prep this. I just happened to remember all this. Howard Schultz is the CEO of Starbucks. She prepped him for all of his media engagements and all kinds of fun things. She worked on, I think, the Xbox account, and then worked on Roll Global wonderful, and the Cuties brand that we all know and love. So anyway, all that to say that she's continued on in her journey as a mom of two. She is a leader at her family company that services HVAC for the whole West Coast. So that all being said, I called her maybe at the end of January and said, help. We have this book. We think we like the title, but we're getting feedback that it's not great. The original title was Moms in the Tech Trenches. And that had somewhat of a negative connotation, especially lacking sensitivity to warfare and things potentially going on in the world. So within 24 hours, she came up with this amazing title. Not only that, she sketched the concept of the finger pushing on the button and totally crushed it. I was immediately in love. I texted it to Emilia and we were off to the races. So thank you so much, Taylor, from the bottom of our heart. That is now our hashtag pressing on, and it's really been fantastic. So we cannot take credit for that. That's all Taylor. And there's a little shout out in the book for you as well.
Well, thank you, Sabina. First of all, that's the best description I've ever had of myself. So I want to take you on the road with me. But it was a very small part to play. And I was just happy to play any part in a project so important and something so special to you ladies. And Emilia, I've never had a chance to meet you, but Sabina is obviously one of my closest friends, and it was just a joy to be able to play a small part in something so important to her and to you. So thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.
I can't believe we were going to call it In the Tech Trenches, because we didn't know a war would occur. Can you imagine if we had kept that name? It would have been a disaster. So thank you, Taylor.
Yeah, no problem. Well, and you never know what's going to happen in life. You never know the events that are going to shape, but hearing about what the book was all about and getting some snippets of it, the title wasn't doing it justice, because to me, when I heard about Tech Trenches, like you said, Sabina, it has a little bit of a negative connotation. And to me, this was much more aspirational and much more of a let's learn from others and let's all go on the journey together. And to me, that wasn't Tech Trenches. That wasn't just, trying to survive in something. This book was a lot more about, let's talk about thriving together and making it a success, and using our information as strength together. So I just think that you guys, the title wasn't doing it the justice that all the work you put into it deserved.
Thank you.
And I would love to just say thank you as well to all the men that supported us. My dad, 85, he's back there with my mom and one of my sisters. Joshua, who not only wrote a quote for the book, but he's an author himself and gave us a lot of advice. So thank you as well. David Sakamoto, who's joined us, and many other men who couldn't join us today, but they've just been such huge supporters. So I want to give a shout out my brother as well, who let me crash in his Palm Springs home so I could have quiet time to write. And if it's all right for some of the women on the call who we feature, I don't want to put you on the spot, but Amanda, for example, you're the first chapter. If there's anything you'd like to share about your journey or anything you've read, I know the book's not perfect. It's V1. It still needs more edits, but we just really wanted to get it out after a year of writing and staring at it.
Oh, thanks, Emilia. It was I was really excited. I got to be chapter 4 or the first story. And I'm really excited that you wrote this book because I think it's such an important resonating. It just resonates so well with everybody. It's funny because we did the interview such a long time ago, like a year ago. And when you sent me the chapter, I could barely remember what we talked about. And we talked about so many things too, but some of the things that I think about a lot in my own journey to be a mother and balance motherhood and my kids is just, mostly I think about I wouldn't want to live my life any other way. And I'm sure that a lot of you feel that way. It's just the amazing joy you get at being able to go and engage in your work and feel fulfilled through that. And then the joy that you get in the, the work week being over and going to soccer games and ballet and having that time with your children. And then how sick of that you are on Sunday nights and how ready you are to get back into your work. It's just a cycle that I didn't know how badly I would want that cycle and love that cycle in my life. So, no one told me that, I guess, before I had kids. So that was a lot of what I wanted to try to say as I talked to Emilia about the journey and sort of, the outcome of that journey and the kind of life you get if you can do both.
Thank you, Amanda. Amanda is an amazing person. So when you read her chapter, I'm sure it will bring you to tears too. Who else do we have on the call that we featured in the book? That's willing to speak up. We're putting you on the spot.
There's definitely a few.
Yay.
I don't mind.
Jenny.
I'm Jenny. I was invited by Sabina, so thank you, Sabina. Our kids went to preschool together, and it was fun seeing day to day another mom dropping her kids off and going and being amazing at work. To me, the part of the book that I kind of highlighted was the way that our bosses, our managers, our coworkers all contribute to supporting us. And some of the managers I've had have quieted rooms so that they would let me speak, or have noticed that I'm doing such a good job, and they speak in those rooms where we don't go, where they decide on our futures, like promotions and all of that. And it's nice having that support group and building that up. And some of the toughest managers I've had, I've learned like making sure that you use data for all the things that you say that you do. And sometimes that's the language they need to hear for what we do. And it's important to do that as part of kind of not being afraid of speaking up about what you do. So those are the things. And then another part, I guess, is inviting our kids to our work and inviting them to enjoying what we do. I let my kids code with me. One time at the dinner table, we're talking about database structures and just explaining to them, and they're like 4, 5, 6 at the time. And it's fun including them in what we do and letting them see the joy that we get in our work too. So thank you guys for putting this book together. I loved listening to reading all the stories and learning from each person who talked in the book. I can't believe how diverse everybody is, different backgrounds, and you got us all together in one place. So I've heard of lots of different panels where people talk, but I've never seen such a wide variety of different experiences that you bring to the book. This has been such a joy.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you so much for your time and support and vulnerability. I know, a lot of the calls that I had the pleasure of having, we recorded on Zoom because we were still a pandemic situation, and I just wanted to hug you, and so when I get to see you in person, I still owe you that big hug. And by the way, if your kids at home aren't all coding with you, we're not failing. It just means that Jenny's a rock star.
Let me know and I'll help them code with you.
Take Sawyer for the summer. That sounds good. Thanks.
Angela, I know you want to speak up too. We'd love to hear from you.
I'll give you a visual here. So I want to say hello, and I want to say thank you to Emilia and Sabina both for writing this book. I came to it on chapter 8, by the way. I came into it through Sabina, and I met Sabina. We were working at the same company, and it was my first job in this particular technology industry, and Sabina had been in it for a long time, and I encountered her in a number of company meetings, and she just made such an impression on me that one day I reached out to her via email and asked her if she would mentor me. And that eventually led to the discussion that led to me getting interviewed for the book. So thank you for that opportunity. What was one of the interesting things for me in doing this was that I don't think I had ever thought about all of the experiences that I had throughout my career, like at one time, and looked at them as a group of experiences. And and it was quite eye-opening to look at it in light of when I started my career. It was a very different world, and some of what I encountered in the business world caught me very, very off guard. One of the things that, as I was reading the book and I was reading everybody's stories and relating to the experiences that all the other individuals who are featured in the book had, it dawned on me that the year that I graduated from college, there was a movie that had come out that was very popular. It was called Working Girl. I don't know if anybody remembers this movie, but it was Melanie Griffith's breakout role. And it's this very Hollywood story of this woman who is very smart, but she's in an administrative assistant position. And she ends up working for a female boss who basically steals a lot of her ideas and promotes them as her own. And as the movie evolves, eventually she ends up becoming an executive in this company. And so it hit home for me that as I was going through college, I was really prepped for a world that had not yet come to be. Like, I was walking into a business world where there was still a lot of discrimination and prejudice against women. It was very difficult to move up in organizations. And I was not expecting that, because the world of education, my peers, and even Hollywood were telling me, oh, the glass ceiling is gone, So it was interesting that memory sort of came back to me as I was reading through the book and everybody's stories. But as I also enjoyed reading about all the other individual stories and the experiences that they had that were both similar and different to my own. And I think it's a great book, not only for just women in technology, but I think that the advice that applies in industries outside of technology. I mean, there are many industries that are still very male dominated. And so I think it's just a great book for working mothers, period, in almost any industry. And I have already bought 5 copies of the book, one for each of my children, one for my soon-to-be daughter-in-law, and one for my mother. And I think I'm going to be ordering a few more copies for some of my nieces and my sister and some others. But I really enjoyed it. I think you guys did a great job with it. So thank you for allowing me to be part of it.
Thank you, Angela. It means a lot. And your stories were just a lot to process at the time. And I'm so grateful that you were willing to share them with us. Thank you. I know we have someone who has to leave early, and I wanted to give her an opportunity to speak right before Christina does as well. Liz, no problem if you don't want to, but would you like to say anything?
Oh, yeah. Thanks. I know Sabina because we were always like running past each other, dropping off, picking up our kids. Their kids were in the same class at one point. And then, of course, then I realized, oh, wait, we're kind of in the same circles in terms of the technology we were in. So we kind of knew of people that were in the space. And then Sabina was always having like mom events to go to, have drinks and dinner. And so we just kind of became friends in that way. They're different types of channels, but with a common thread that I think we were trying to like figure it out, make it work in the tech industry as moms. So I really appreciate the opportunity to share. I think one of the things that, in my chapter, which I think is the last chapter in the stories, is really about, kind of pushing the what is it called, the ceiling there. I think the working girl story really resonates with me because it's always like in my story, it's a lot about like feeling like folks feel like, do you really know, like you seem, are you really as old as you say you are, and just thinking that you're inexperienced. And I still deal with that now. I think some of those things and it's constantly trying to like showcase that actually I've been doing this for 25 years, in the same space for a long time, and not letting that kind of like take you down, and taking it and really turning it around into a strength to really get you to the next level. And that has really helped me. I think one of the things I've really learned is identifying those folks that really advocate for you in those closed door conversations, that really have faith in terms of what you can do, what you bring to the table. And I shared a couple of experiences of that in terms of, what that has meant for me. But yeah, thanks so much, guys, for including me. I really appreciate it. A little bit like embarrassed also in terms of like putting it out there, but I really appreciate to be included.
Thank you, Liz. It means a lot. And the kind thing that she omitted was that my son actually bit her son in the playground when he was 3. And Liz still wants to talk to me. So I was really grateful with her, of all people. I was so mortified. And I think Jack turned out okay. And Sawyer he doesn't eat people anymore. So so thank you very much. This is real working mom life situations. I know we've got Jody and Christina on here. I don't want to put you on the spot. Jody, do you want to say anything before we pivot to Christina?
Yeah, hey. So firstly, thank you. Thank you for including me in the book. It's kind of, it's humbling and an honor. So Sabina and I worked together, how many years ago now? 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago?
Something like that. Yeah.
And
so, yeah,
it's a little while ago, but, and it was really fun. So, being a couple of ambitious women in a very male and old school male dominated company was interesting, but you know what, it didn't slow either of us down. And I think that's why we sort of connected so well, is we're surrounded by challenges and family, and being a minority in as far as a gender sense is, but kind of just ignoring that. I'm not ignoring it, but not limiting or stopping ourselves was kind of really interesting. So, it's kind of, I don't work in tech anymore. I'm sitting here designing some stuff, which is kind of semi-inappropriate, which I really enjoy doing. But, I took a lot of that stuff, Sabina, that we did back then, and, being authentic and being real and being courageous and doing all that stuff. And your kids see that. My kids see me do really interesting stuff every day, and hopefully in time it'll inspire them to be bold and pursue whatever they want, no matter who surrounds them. Other than to say, when I say it doesn't matter who surrounds them, I mean male, female. The only thing I do say to them, whether it's tech, whether you're a parent, whatever, just work with people that you enjoy being around and that challenge you, and that you have more good days than bad. And they're words I live by. Even now, running my own businesses, if I'm not enjoying myself doing what I'm doing one day, I stop and I do something else and I'll come back to it. So, but I hadn't prepared anything other than to say, Sabina, I was honored that you asked me to do this, and I really enjoyed us catching up, doing it, and then getting the book. I glanced at it. I haven't read it all yet, but I glanced the other night, and it looks amazing. So I can't wait to read it and share it. So thank you.
Thank you, Jody. Jody was actually my boss and was one of the women who gave me a chance. I was in a different division and we struck a friendship, and she and I got to talking even salaries. And one of my favorite memories in my career was when she called me. I was in the hospital with my son who had his tonsils taken out. And I was sitting at this tiny little kids table in the little like kid play area that they can go in. And she's like, I know things are crazy right now. I know you're in the hospital. I don't mean to bother you, but I have some really good news for you. And she had managed to get me promoted and significantly provide the largest raise I ever have in my life to get me to market. And I didn't realize how far below market I was. I don't know if you remember all that, Jody, but it meant a lot. And it was truly the stepping stone from where I am today. So thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
All right, Christina, where did you go? I saw you and the little tiles moved.
Hi, everyone. I'm Christina Wong Sing, and very nice to meet all of you. I met Emilia actually through Amanda Berger, and Sabina, you talked a little bit just about how Jody has helped you, and Amanda is someone that I met. She was my boss at my first tech job. And she is a woman that I really look up to. We became really good friends. When I was working at that first tech company, I had my first child, and this was before she had joined. And I remember that there were no other women who had had children. And so we were developing what that maternity leave should look like. And then when Amanda joined, she was the other woman that, had a baby. And so we really bonded in terms of, I looked at her in terms of her career and what she had done, and she really advocated for me. And we've just continued to be really great friends. In the chapter, what I talk about is a few things. One of them is about representation. And for me, I've never really wanted to have to talk about representation in my role, but unfortunately, that is the world that we live in. And for me, I know that I often do speak to other women who look like me, who want to know, how have you been given these opportunities, or how have you gotten to where you are? And so I have to talk about representation. I also have to think about hiring for diversity in the organizations that I belong to. So as an example, I started at my current company a year and a half ago. When I joined to run customer success, there were 8 men that I was leading, and they were all white. And so we've doubled the size of the team, and we've added a lot of diversity into the organization. And part of it, when I joined the executive team as well, I was the first woman to join the executive team. And so my role is, I have to talk about representation as a woman, as being Asian American in my experiences, because if I don't talk about it, no one else will. And so I appreciate all of the women here who are sharing their stories and have shared their stories, and to Emilia and Sabina for helping us be able to share our stories with a broader audience. So thank you.
Thank you, Christina.
And are there any other moms here that we interviewed, or any moms that would like to share their story? All right, well, hopefully we got everyone. I'm trying to see everyone that there are 2 screens, so hopefully we got them all. But I also, Carrie, go first before I say anything else.
Well, thanks. I'm Amelia's best friend, and I want to congratulate both Emilia and Sabina for this amazing accomplishment. I think when we think about what our lives look like when we're parenting and working, and then imagining writing a book on top of all that, it seems very overwhelming. So I really extend my most deepest congrats to both of you for this amazing achievement. And also to the others who share their stories. It's a really brave thing to do, to come out to the world and talk about some of the challenges that you faced. But we all benefit from that level of consciousness raising, and learning about other people's experiences, and not feeling so isolated and alone in this journey of ours, and also what we can do to improve the situation for women who are working and raising children, or have other types of accountabilities and childcare needs in their lives, or elder parent needs, whatever they are. And I just wanted to say just to Emilia that Emilia and I met when we were 18 in first year university, and became instant friends. And I've been so lucky to have Emilia in my life as someone I really look up to and admire. She's incredibly inspirational. Sabina, I'm so jealous that you get to work with Emilia every day. I know I learned so much from Emilia. She had, even when I met her at 18, she had this uber sophistication and incredible emotional intelligence. Truly, it was remarkable. And I know that she would probably attribute this as well to her family, because she has just an amazing, supportive family. And I have experienced that, and I see everyone on the line, and it's just warming my heart to see Julia and Sam and Josephine and Maria with that hilarious photo that she has, and her parents. Of course, they've all been such big parts of my life, and I know that support that Emilia has from her family is I'm sure she would say has allowed her to thrive, and and achieve what she's achieved. And certainly I know when we were younger, that we spent so many hours with Josephine and Julia, who taught us the ways. And I'm just so grateful and appreciative. But anyway, congratulations to both of you. Thanks for sharing your stories and collecting all these other stories of other women on top of everything else that you have going on in your lives. I just wanted to express my deep gratitude for that.
Thank you so much, Carrie. And I want to say before we hear from more people is I have my mother-in-law, Patty, and my other mother-in-law, Brenda, on the call today too. Brenda has been with us since the kids were little. There's no way I could have done what I do today without her helping us. So I have extreme gratitude for Brenda. And then Patty, you have helped us so many times as we were trying to get our lives together, Jason and I. So I can't thank you enough as well. Even though you are in Tulsa, Oklahoma, you have just been such a huge participant in our lives. And so thank you for just being such an amazing mother-in-law. So with that, I think other people have raised their hands. Gosha.
Hello, I'm Gosha. Congratulations, Sabina and Emilia. I'm very, very happy for you both. I've known Emilia for 14 years and tech brought us together. Actually, Emilia was an implementation manager for the company I work for, and that's where my secret effort with software started and with customer success, thanks to Emilia. And I always look up to Emilia and her achievements, but what I also look up to is how she mentored and how she always advocated for people in her circle, especially women, but not only. I heard from other colleagues that she mentored too and always tried to look for jobs for other people, connecting people. And wanted to share one story I will never forget when I was on crossroads at a company. And I was like, I think I want to do something more. And Emily's like, Gosha, completely, you can just come to my house. Like, let's look at your resume. Let's brainstorm. And I came and I not only got my resume looked over, I got fed spaghetti. I sat at the same table with Emilia and her family. So she just pours the heart to everything she does, anyone she touches. So thank you, Emilia. I wouldn't be where I am. And another thing I wanted to share that is amazing about Emilia. So the way she does things professionally, the way she mentors, the way she is a mom and she gets it, and then she can relate to other moms and provides this psychological safety to open up. We had a lot of heartfelt conversations about challenges with kids, about mental health. And there's not a lot of people you can have that open conversation with. And thank you, Emilia. You've been a rock for me during very hard time in my life where I was even thinking if I can thrive in tech. And thanks to you and your encouragement, here I am. And actually, we're working together again. So I'm very happy. And Sabina, thanks to Emilia, I met you. So we work together now. And from the day I met you, you inspired me. I love working with you. And I just secretly hope I can be one day like you when I grow up. So that's all. I haven't finished the book yet because my husband took it from me. He kept on reading. And fun fact too, Sabina, when he read about you, he's like, Gosha, you know Emilia longer. How come you didn't write a book yet with Emilia? So just a fun fact. But anyway, congratulations. Thank you so much. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Gosha.
Thank you so much. That's enough saying nice things. I can't handle it.
My goal is to make Emilia cry on this call. So you guys keep laying it on thick. One thing I'd like to share.
I know some people had to drop, but if anyone has to drop, we will wrap this up early. Don't worry, but feel free. We're not offended. And sorry, Sabina, I think you were going to say something.
I was just going to let everyone know that this is really only the beginning. We have this vision of putting the philosophies we've been talking about into practice, more than just the way that we conduct business, more than just the way that we empower all the women and men in our lives, but also we have this vision, and I can't promise when. Knowing us, it'll be by the end of the year, but that also means less sleep, so we'll see. But we have this vision of creating a scholarship fund where we can support moms seeking to get back into technology. And what exactly that looks like is being formulated, but there's definitely a need. People who maybe weren't in tech before but want to pivot into tech, they're going to need that education, they're going to need that support, the know-how, and allowing them to get into an industry that theoretically is a little bit more resilient than where they may have been before, right? Like my career started off in event planning and marketing and advertising, and the Great Recession came and knocked me in my bottom. So I was grateful that I got a chance in tech, and I want to give other women that same chance. And some of the ideas that we have is partnering with, VC firms, PE firms, things like that have talked about wanting to help solve the challenge, but don't really know where to start other than influencing their portfolio companies' leaders. And so if we have the opportunity, in fact, the gentleman who's joining us right now is someone who's been a big supporter of mine and Emilia's career. Scott, I'm talking about you. So funny timing. He's connecting to audio. So the idea of, I hate the expression putting our money where our mouth is, because as we clarified, this is not a money-making operation. We're way in the hole actually, but we want to be able to make it different for our children. And, for those of you who shared, like Angela, you're buying the book for, your children and the other women in your life. That means a lot. And I think that's just scratching the surface of what we can do together. So thank you very much.
Yes. And Scott, hopefully you can hear us now, but thank you for sharing with us. And I'm happy to share it with everyone on this call. The founder of Girls Who Code recently did a podcast with Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn, and she talked about how 11 million moms left the working force, and 2 million of them were in tech during COVID. And so we want to change that story. This weekend, one of my friends, she's sadly not on this call, but she's a lawyer at Facebook. She said the only reason she managed to even find a job after applying to countless ones, after taking 7 years off to be a mom, and she contributed so much. She was the president of our school where our kids went to school together. She was struggling to get back into work, and Facebook gave her a chance to be an intern there. So 50 years old, an intern at Facebook, and then thankfully a year later, they hired her full time. So now she's continuing with other women to try to expand this, because she said, honestly, I was so discouraged as a lawyer coming from New York City and just being rejected continuously by every company, because I couldn't explain the last 7 years being a mom, president, and volunteer at the school just wasn't good enough. So it's companies like Gainsight, Scott, who's come to us and said, how can we support you? And my friend who works at Facebook, who are saying, hey, how can we make this a bigger deal that we can help more moms get back, even if they take time off to be mothers. It's just such an important job. And I know there's no way I could have done what I did and am doing without Jason helping me, and Brenda, my mother-in-law, who helped me every single day.
On our website right now, there is a guide that has some of the resources that are in the back of the book. That's just, again, the very, very, very beginning. We want to also support the women that are already in tech and give them, something as simple as, or tactical rather, as meal plan tips, right? All the if you haven't heard of dry shampoo, go buy some, right? Like the little tips and things that are sometimes are silly, mundane, but some of them are really important. It's like, it's okay. Give yourself grace. You don't have to shave your legs every day. Like I went to an all girls Catholic high school. That was a secret got out. You don't have to do that until you go and see the boys. Right. So the idea there is something as simple as that. And then also more heartfelt and serious about, how can you find a sponsor? How can you find a mentor? What's the difference between the two? Jenny was the one on the call here who educated me on that. So again, like you said earlier, we've got a lot of responsibility on our shoulders now to actually walk the walk. And because of your support, because of your stories that you've shared with us, we believe we're going to make that happen.
Well, I think I don't have anything else to say except thank you. So if there's anyone else who wants to speak up, Angela, you have.
There was just one other thing that I wanted to say, and it was something that I didn't really talk about in my interviews. And but later on, I thought about it, and I have been very fortunate in that I have a husband who has 110% supported all of my career ambitions through thick and thin and everything else. And sometimes I think I take that for granted. You know, not everybody has that. And to the extent that there was a period of time that I took off of work for a few years when my kids were young to be at home with them. And then a little bit later on, my husband retired early and became a stay-at-home dad with my children from the time that they were in in grade school through high school. And a lot of women don't have the benefit of somebody who can or will do that and provide that kind of support. But I just needed to kind of shout him out and give him that credit, because I couldn't have done most of what I've done in my career without his support.
I love that. And Dr. S, Saroja was my professor and mentor when I was getting my MBA. I went back to school at 37. Well, I applied when I was 37. I got in at age 38, and I announced it to my husband, I'm going back to get my MBA. And we had 3 kids at home. And he's like, how are you going to run a global team of over 30 people and go back to school at night and on the weekends and travel to India and Thailand and New Zealand as part of your MBA? And I said, we'll just figure it out. And so Dr. S, thank you for supporting and mentoring me. It was really hard to go back to school after being out of school for almost 20 years and learning how to write again.
Well, Emilia, congratulations. Sabina, to you too. I just started reading the book and I was telling parts of it, and I said, do you remember I used to talk about this team? Emilia was in the team. I'm really proud of Emilia, and she did such a wonderful job. The MBA program is very jam-packed. I'm at St. Mary's, in case somebody doesn't know that. So Emilia did really a fantastic job, and I must say I'm really, really proud of her. And I'm really also proud that you're doing this book. It's really marvelous for women to have this support. It's long overdue. So congratulations to you, Emilia, and Sabina, nice to meet you. And
thank you.
I'm like in the 2nd chapter right now.
Thank you, Dr. S. And I'm so excited to hear from a man on this call. Jim, thank you for all your support so far.
Hi, Amelia. Well, I just wanted to quickly say congratulations to both Sabina and Amelia on the book. I was late because I'm in Boston getting ready to take my daughter on a tour of colleges, which is a wonderful experience for me. So I will need to drop off, but I wanted to make a couple of points. We've worked with growth molecules, so I know Amelia and Sabina professionally, although I can tell you that if I had a personal relationship with both of them, it sounds like they're just as much fun from listening to all the stories on the call as they are professionally. But we've really enjoyed at Cosmo Ventures working with them. They've made a huge impact in our portfolio. We look forward to more work with them. And then I would just emphasize as a man that I want to thank both of you for shining a light on the topic and giving a point of view that men, as well-intentioned as we are, oftentimes don't have and need to have. And I think it's an important topic. At Cosmo Ventures, we also try to focus a lot on these issues. We run a program called Seat at the Table, which focuses on similar issues. And again, I'm just really pleased to see you do this. I'm pleased that you have so much support. And I hope that as many men as women read the book and take away good learnings from it. Congratulations.
Thank you, Jim. That means a lot. And I had the pleasure of meeting Jim last year and loved how, for as successful and accomplished as he is, he was truly so warm and loving and supporting of us and just nurturing our desire to do well in tech, and has mentored more than I think you probably know. So thank you.
I see Dr. Priyanka Srivastava raising her hand. Not only did she invite me to guest lecture several times before I became an adjunct professor, but I taught at Halt University and St. Mary's MBA program, and she was an amazing mentor to help me think about how I wanted to structure my course and all the lectures I gave as a guest lecturer to her students. Actually, she invited me to speak at the MBA program in Singapore as well, obviously through Zoom, and that was really exciting. But Dr. Srivastava also asked me to co-write a Harvard Business article. So she has sent it off and we are waiting. And thank you for joining us today and for all of your support.
Hey, hello everyone. It is great to know Emilia and nice to meet you, Sabina. The article that Emilia was talking about, Sabina is also part of it. So glad to meet you here. Congratulations to both of you. It's a great piece of work. I have started reading it, and such diverse background of women leaders. But there's something that unites all of us, isn't it? And the experiences that we go through. So it is so heartwarming to hear such stories. So I would also congratulate all the women leaders who have contributed in this great piece of work. I would like to share, so as Emilia was talking, that I invited her in different guest sessions in other institutes that I teach. The first time that I met her, I invited her as part of course that I was teaching with St. Mary's College of California. And it was at a plug and play center at Sunnyvale. And when she traveled, so in-person session, she came with her daughters. And her plan was, after the guest session, she was planning to take them to Great America. So it was so heartwarming again to see, such a accomplished lady, juggling with so many things. And that is what we all go through, right? And so thank you so much again, Emilia and Sabina, for creating this great piece of work. It is a inspiration to many. So congratulations once again.
Thank you.
That was one of the best days of their life, by the way. They keep asking me when I get to lecture again down there so we can go to Great America. Well, Sabina, do you want to close this off? I know we're at time.
Sure. One thing I have to say, otherwise I won't be able to sleep tonight, is to my husband, Sean. This is the gentleman who I texted him last week and said, oh no, we have to get Easter basket stuff. And within a few hours, he was texting me pictures of the shopping cart at Target, getting all the things. The kids loved everything that were in them. He totally also stuffed all the eggs, played Easter Bunny, like just did all the things. And that's just one sampling of the type of man, the type of father and partner that he is in life. And certainly would not be who I am today had it not been for you. And thank you for the life that you're enabling our children to have, and for me in my career. So thank you. That's my husband, by the way, in case you didn't get that. So thank you too. Yeah. He's incredible. And he's also a USC alum, as is Megan on the call with us too, and Taylor and Katie and many others. So I can't express enough the level of pride and joy and love that we feel from each of you, and your time, even being here with us today. It really makes a difference. And just from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Hi, Jocko. Thank you for joining us, even if it's late. We're so thankful you're here, and it's nice to see you. I think you might be on vacation, so I'm thankful that you made time.
Oh, you're on mute.
Oh, and you're on mute.
Congratulations to both of you. Fantastic job.
Thank you, Jocko. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again.
Sarah, thanks for organizing this.
Yeah, good job, Sean. He's doing a toast. If anybody does have a beverage, I have water. We can do a toast to close us out.
I have coffee.
All good. Cheers, everyone. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
We'll be in touch soon.
Bye. Thank you both. Great book launch.
Thank you.